Hi guys, I have a Malayalam book for you today. It's called Ini Njan Urangatte by P.K. Balakrishnan, and it is a story about the Mahabharata, or rather about one character in the Mahabharata. So after the book review, I will be talking about different versions of the Mahabharata that we have, and also focusing on one particular book, which is Until the Lions by Kartika Nair, which is a personal favorite of mine. So let's start with Ini Njan Urangatte by P.K. Balakrishnan. Now, this book was written in 1973 and it won the Kerala Sahitya Academy Award and the Vayalar Award, which I feel it richly deserves. It's one of the earliest books which focuses on one particular character in the Mahabharata. In this case, it's Karna. And the narrative is not from his point of view, but through the book, we find out different facets of Karna's life and his character, and which gives us a very different view of the person that he really is. Actually, it is Draupadi who is discovering this. Draupadi, who hated Karna, who finds that Karna was a figure who was present in a lot of situations in which he was humiliated, and who she feels is responsible largely for those humiliations. So Karna is somebody that Draupadi hates. And after the Kurukshetra war, when there are no victors, the Kauravas are decimated, but the Pandavas too suffer enormous losses. And Yudhishthira is grieving. Yudhishthira is grieving more for his brother Karna rather than for his children and people who are very close to him who have passed away. And this angers Draupadi. And she feels, why is this man grieving for such a villain when his children have died and when people close to him have died? So why is he doing this? And later, through the eyes of Yudhishthira, through the eyes of Narada, sage Narada, Kunti, and so many people, Draupadi finds that Karna is a person who had absolutely no control over his life. Right from the time of his birth, his life went on a completely different trajectory. And she finds a lot of similarity between herself and Karna, because both of them were strong people, who had no control over their lives and whose lives were dictated by the decisions taken by others. Karna was abandoned at birth by his mother, and his life went on a completely different track, rather than what it should have, as the eldest prince of the Pandavas, eldest Pandava prince. And rather than being a revered prince, he became the son of a charioteer, and who was humiliated, and he was reviled throughout his life by his opponents, and who in fact turned out to be his own brothers. That is Karna. And then on the other hand, Draupadi's life, when from the time she discovers that she has to be the wife to 5 people, so she finds a lot of similarity between her life and Karna's life. And the author has written it so beautifully, my God. Because each incident, he does not deviate from what happened. But when you see it from the person who actually goes through it, it's heartbreaking, and the language is so poetic. It's not an easy book to read, because the words that are used are slightly difficult, because especially for a person like me who does not read too much Malayalam. But I stuck to it because the narrative was so beautiful. So through finding out more about Karna, Draupadi too finds a kind of closure. She finds a kind of peace by knowing that there was another person who had to face a lot of injustice just like she had to, and who was such a wonderful person, but due to fate, he was cast as a villain. So it is as much Draupadi's journey towards finding some sort of closure and peace as much as Karna's life. It is a beautiful book. It's a really beautiful book, Ini Njan Urangatte by P.K. Balakrishnan. The narrative and the way the characters' dialogues are crafted, it's so lovely. It's so well written. And P.K. Balakrishnan actually did not complete his graduation. And he got involved in the Quit India movement, he got involved in the freedom movement, and he was jailed, and his education was disrupted, but still he ended up writing many books, one of which is Ini Njan Urangatte. So this book, I feel, is a must read. Not only is it written well, it's written very intelligently. It's written with a lot of emotion, with a lot of soul. And Ininya Nurangate was actually translated into other languages. There are two English translations actually. One is by Dr. K.C. Sarsamma, which is done by the Sahitya Academy, and it's called And Now We Sleep, which is, I think, is a literal translation of Ininya Nurangate. The second one is by the author's daughter, P.K. Jayalakshmi, and it's called Battle Beyond Kurukshetra. It was translated much later by her, and that was done by the Oxford University Press. So if you want to get a copy of that, go to OUP's website, you might get it. Then it was also translated by the Sahitya Academy into Tamil, Kannada and Hindi. So if you are comfortable reading in any of these languages, get it. If you are comfortable reading in Malayalam, you have to read this. It is a must read. It's so beautifully crafted and it is so beautifully written that you have to read it. So that is Ininya Nurangate by P.K. Balakrishnan, which is a beautiful story of Karna as seen through the eyes of Draupadi and how she makes peace with her life. Now we come to the different renderings or different versions, retellings of the Mahabharata. The first book about the Mahabharata that I read as a child was C. Rajagopalachari's Mahabharata. It's got flowery language and it's a concise version. And so as a child, I loved it. And I remember feeling so tearful when Abhimanyu passed away. And, it was really wonderful at that time. But now when I read it, I find the language slightly old-fashioned and archaic. So that is C. Rajagopalachari's Mahabharata. Then, of course, there is Amar Chitra Katha, which tells you all about the Mahabharata, which just touches upon the different events of the Mahabharata. Then, Puffin Book has come out with a book about the Mahabharata for children. And if you want a more modern retelling of the Mahabharata, then you can go in for Ramesh Menon's book, which is Mahabharata, a modern rendering. Again, we have another one called Yuganta by Airavati Karve, which I personally find to be really interesting because the author is an anthropologist and it is more like a collection of independent essays on different characters. And she talks about the different characters, very interesting viewpoints about the different characters. She compares Draupadi in Mahabharata and Sita in Ramayana in one. Then she talks about Krishna and Karna in another one. So there are these different characters that she takes and she puts a spotlight on them and takes a different look at them. So that is Yuganta by Airavati Karve. Then also we have Parva by S.L. Bhairappa, who's a brilliant author, and he looks at these characters as social beings. So that is Parva by S.L. Bhairappa. Then of course we have Krishna by K. Munshi, which unfortunately was left incomplete because the author passed away. That's also very beautifully written and it shows events exactly as they are. Then what else is there? Yeah, then there's Mrityunjay by Shivaji Rao Sawant, and it's supposed to be a brilliant work on Karna again, and it was translated into English. Then what else is there? Then of course Chitra Banerjee Divakarani's Palace of Illusions, which I know a lot of you would have read, Draupadi's version of the whole events. Then Randamoolam, again a brilliant work which talks about the Mahabharata from the point of view of Bhima, the much misunderstood or the little understood, I should say, Pandava brother, Bhima. So that is Randamoolam in Malayalam by M.T. Vasudevan Nair, and it has been translated into The Lone Warrior into English. But read the Malayalam, yeah, it's a killer. So these are the different versions of the Mahabharata which is a pleasure to read. Then there's Jaya by Devdutt Patnaik also. And now we come to my favorite, which is Until the Lines by Kartika Nair. This is a book which is completely in verse, much like the original Mahabharata, which is completely in verse. So Kartika Nair actually looks through the eyes of marginalized women characters. 18 points of view, 18 different views of what happened in the Mahabharata. And Until the Lions is such an apt title for it. It's based on the African proverb which says, until the lions have their own historians, history will always glorify the hunter. And that is exactly what has happened. We always hear the version of the Pandavas who are the victors. But what about all the other people? All the other people on the who are part of this narrative and who are a part of the story, who have been important parts of the story at one point or the other, but who remain as footnotes in the final retelling or the final telling of the epic, of the story. So, Kartika Nair has given different forms of poetry for each character. It's so lovely, there is the Spanish glosa, there's the Japanese haibun, there's the Afghan lande, Pashtun lande, oh my god. And the lande is actually a form of poetry which is created by the Afghan women, and it is sung by them, it is recited by them. And the themes of the Pashtun lande are usually war, separation, grief, love. And Kartika has used it for Dushala, who is the Kaurava sister, the lone Kaurava sister. And Dushala is talking about her brothers. And she says that, you cannot call them a collective evil just because Duryodhana and Dushasana were evil or as seen as evil. And she takes the name of each brother, each Kaurava brother. And the Pashtun lande is like heartbreaking when you read it, I was so moved when I read it. So Kartika has given different form of poetry for each character, which makes it very interesting. And like you feel that there is a distinct voice which is talking to you. Then one of the chapters is that of Uttara, who is Abhimanyu's wife. We've all heard of Abhimanyu, the brave warrior, and who died a glorious death. But what about his wife, who was left behind with an unborn child at that time? So Uttara says that there was a part of Abhimanyu which nobody knew, that he also wanted to be a father. So this is something which you can only know from the wife, this kind of a viewpoint. And so Kartika Nair's Until the Lines is a beautiful retelling of the Mahabharata, which I loved. And I keep going back to it, in the issues that are talked about, of rape, of power, of the misuse of power, of patriarchy, of things like that, those are relevant even today. So even even if you don't know the Mahabharata, I feel that you can identify with it. So it's just that you have to get used to that different kinds of poetry, which if you persevere, you will. And I think you should, because it's gold. It's brilliant. Until the Lines is a brilliant book. So P.K. Balakrishnan's Inija Norangatte and Until the Lines by Kartika Nair are two books which are fantastic, which will give you two different views of the Mahabharata. So until we meet next week, you guys, please go, like I keep saying, go read. There are so many wonderful books out there. Not so wonderful ones also, which you might end up reading, but please don't be disheartened by that. There are wonderful, fascinating, marvelous, great books out there. So go and read those, and we'll meet next week. Bye.